What happened when an undercover CEO discovered her prestigious fashion institute was corrupted by elitism and greed? Hello, incredible listeners. Today we're diving into the gripping story of Emilia Clarke, the visionary owner of the Parisian atelier who went undercover to uncover shocking favoritism and exploitation within her own school. Instead of turning away, Emilia took courageous steps to eliminate corruption, empower genuine talent, and restore her institute's values of creativity and inclusivity. It's a tale of leadership, redemption, and fighting for what's right. Stay tuned to find out how Emilia turned a toxic environment into a thriving creative haven. Emilia Clarke sat at her sleek glass desk in her London office, her fingers tapping rhythmically against a pile of glossy brochures showcasing the Parisian atelier, her prestigious fashion design institute. The institute, established a decade ago, had grown from a modest studio into an internationally renowned institution, with campuses across fashion capitals such as Paris, Milan, and New York. Emilia had poured her heart and soul into building the institute's reputation, priding herself on fostering creativity and inclusivity. It was meant to be a haven where young designers from all backgrounds could flourish and cultivate their talent without prejudice. But now, reports of misconduct from her Paris campus were piling up, and they painted a troubling picture. Emilia scanned through the stack of letters and emails spread across her desk, her expression growing tighter with each damning account. Students described the environment at the Paris campus as harsh, elitist, and stifling. Many claimed that the head of the program, Isabelle Duval, was openly dismissive of anyone who didn't fit her narrow standards of creativity or sophistication. Others reported that the dean of admissions, Victor Moreau, had made entry nearly impossible for those without wealth or connections, prioritizing profit over potential. Emilia's jaw clenched as she read another complaint from a talented young designer named Lucille, whose portfolio had been rejected on the grounds of being too unconventional. According to Lucille, Isabelle had belittled her work during a portfolio review, dismissing her avant-garde designs as amateurish and suggesting that she didn't belong at the institute. Emilia remembered seeing Lucille's work during an international competition the previous year and being impressed by her originality. To hear that her creativity was now being crushed under Isabelle's ruthless standards was infuriating. Adding to Emilia's frustration were reports of bribery. Multiple parents had accused Victor Moreau of accepting exorbitant donations in exchange for admissions, practices Emilia had strictly forbidden. The complaints were detailed and numerous enough that Emilia could not dismiss them as mere rumors. The thought of her institute being run like a private club for the wealthy and privileged sickened her. The Parisian atelier was supposed to be a place where passion and creativity triumphed over wealth and status. But from what she was reading, the campus in Paris had become a shadow of that vision. Emilia's last conversation with Victor had been dismissive and unhelpful. He had brushed off her concerns with the nonchalance of someone too comfortable in their position. Isabelle's methods are strict, yes, but they produce results, Victor had insisted. And as for the donations, the institute needs funding to maintain its prestige. It's a necessary evil. His tone had been cavalier, as if ethics were a matter of personal convenience rather than institutional integrity. Emilia had ended the call with a curt goodbye, her frustration boiling over into determination. If Victor and Isabelle were too entrenched in their power to care about the institute's integrity, then Emilia would have to see the truth for herself. She couldn't rely on second-hand accounts and defensive explanations. The only way to uncover the reality was to go undercover and experience the environment firsthand. Decision made, Emilia began making preparations to travel to Paris. She would enter her own institute as a prospective student, hiding her identity beneath a simple alias, Marie Laurent. Packing away her tailored blouses and silk scarves, she opted instead for simple, nondescript clothing. Emilia studied her reflection in the mirror, adjusting her loose bun and applying minimal makeup. To complete her disguise, she wore a pair of wire-framed glasses that softened her striking features. For once, she would be just another aspiring designer, no prestige, no power, and no expectations. The following morning, Emilia boarded a train to Paris, her mind buzzing with thoughts of what she might find. As the city's skyline emerged on the horizon, her resolve only strengthened. She would uncover the truth about her institute no matter what it took. And if Isabelle and Victor were indeed exploiting her students, they would soon learn that their power was nothing but an illusion. The crisp air of Paris greeted Amelia as she stepped out of the train station, her usually confident stride now softened to match the humble persona she had crafted. Dressed in simple jeans, a loose sweater, and well-worn sneakers, she carried nothing but a modest portfolio case and a small backpack. The grandeur of the Parisian Atelier campus loomed ahead, its elegant facade gleaming under the midday sun. This was the institute she had built, with passion and pride, a place meant to nurture creativity and foster collaboration. But today, she approached it not as Amelia Clark, the influential founder, but as Marie Laurent, an aspiring designer seeking admission. As she entered the institute's main hall, the atmosphere felt cold and rigid, a stark contrast to the vibrant, welcoming environment she had envisioned. Her first encounter was with the receptionist, who barely glanced up from her computer before directing Amelia to the admissions office with a dismissive wave. Suppressing her irritation, Amelia continued to the bustling admissions area, where Victor Moreau, the dean of admissions, conducted his business with an air of self-importance. She stood in line, waiting her turn while observing Victor's interactions. Wealthy clients were ushered into private rooms for consultation, their voices hushed and deferential. Meanwhile, applicants who appeared less affluent were rushed through the process, their questions dismissed with impatience. When it was finally her turn, Victor looked her over with a bored expression before nodding to his assistant to deal with her. The assistant provided Amelia with a standard application packet and directed her to Isabelle Duval, the program director, for her portfolio review. The casual indifference with which Victor handled her application only confirmed Amelia's suspicions. It was clear that students were being judged by their status rather than their talent. As she made her way to Isabelle's office, Amelia's gaze drifted over the pristine classrooms and bustling workspaces, noting how certain students received lavish praise and attention, while others struggled to catch even a glance from their instructors. Determined to keep her cover intact, Amelia kept her expression neutral, her eagerness to expose the truth held tightly beneath her facade. She was here to uncover the injustice permeating her own institute, and she intended to see it through to the end, no matter what it took. Amelia walked down the sleek, polished corridors of the Parisian Atelier, her steps echoing lightly against the marble floors. The elegance of the institute was undeniable, from its pristine white walls adorned with avant-garde sketches to the airy studios filled with students hunched over their sketches and fabric samples. But the beauty of the surroundings only heightened Amelia's frustration. How could something so outwardly perfect be harboring such deep flaws? Amelia's appointment with Isabelle Duval, the program director, was scheduled for late afternoon. While waiting, she explored the common areas, observing the interactions between staff and students. It was immediately clear that Isabelle's influence permeated every corner of the institute. Her name was spoken with a mix of fear and reverence, students whispering about her notoriously harsh critiques and favoritism toward affluent patrons. Those who couldn't afford private mentorships were largely ignored, their creative potential dismissed before it could even flourish. As she made her way toward the design studios, Amelia spotted an instructor assisting a group of students with their stitching techniques. The woman was young, perhaps in her early 30s, with curly auburn hair pulled back into a loose bun and a pair of delicate gold-framed glasses perched on her nose. Her name tag read Sophie Bernard, and her gentle manner immediately caught Amelia's attention. Unlike the other instructors who seemed to drift through their lessons with clinical detachment, Sophie offered genuine encouragement, patiently guiding her students through their mistakes and celebrating their progress with genuine warmth. "Your technique is improving, Lucille," Sophie said with a smile, her voice carrying across the studio. "Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about expressing your vision." Amelia watched as Lucille, a shy young woman she recognized from one of the complaint letters, beamed under Sophie's praise. The moment reaffirmed what Amelia had suspected. There were good people here, but their efforts were being stifled under Isabelle's oppressive leadership. Sophie's approachability was a rare quality in an environment dominated by elitism and rigid standards. Intrigued, Amelia approached her under the guise of seeking advice as a prospective student. Sophie welcomed her with a warm smile, inviting her to join the group's stitching exercise, despite not officially being enrolled. As Amelia fumbled with the fabric, Sophie offered guidance without judgment, her words patient and kind. "You're doing well, Marie. It's all about finding your own style." Amelia marveled at Sophie's kindness. the sincerity in her tone a stark contrast to the harshness she had witnessed from the other instructors. Sophie's passion for teaching was evident, her encouragement fostering creativity rather than stifling it. Yet even as Sophie spoke with enthusiasm, Amelia noticed the flicker of tension in her gaze whenever another instructor walked by. Isabel's shadow loomed large, its presence felt even in Sophie's welcoming studio. Before parting ways, Sophie offered Amelia a quiet word of advice. "If you're serious about applying here, just be prepared for some tough feedback. Isabel doesn't hold back." The caution in her voice spoke volumes. Amelia thanked her, but the warning only fueled her determination. If someone as dedicated as Sophie felt threatened, then the corruption at the Parisian atelier ran deeper than Amelia had anticipated. Now more than ever, Amelia knew she couldn't simply rely on observation. She needed to confront Isabel and Victor head-on, and she needed allies, like Sophie, who genuinely believed in the Institute's original vision. Over the following days, Amelia immersed herself in the daily workings of the Parisian atelier, her eyes and ears tuned to the subtle injustices playing out before her. Despite her plain appearance as Marie Laurent, her observations were anything but ordinary. Isabelle Duval's iron grip on the program was evident in every interaction, her disdain for unconventional creativity palpable. Students whose designs did not fit Isabelle's narrow definition of elegance were dismissed with a curled lip and a cutting remark. "Fashion is about refinement, not childish fantasies," Isabelle had sneered at a nervous student displaying an avant-garde gown inspired by street art. The young woman had left in tears, her sketches crumpled and abandoned. Amelia noted how Isabelle's favoritism extended beyond mere creative preferences. Wealthy students, especially those from influential families, were granted privileges others could only dream of. Private mentoring sessions, invitations to exclusive industry events, and access to premium materials were lavished upon them, while students with less affluent backgrounds were left to struggle with outdated resources. Isabelle didn't even attempt to hide her bias. She openly praised the wealthier students, congratulating them on their polished designs, while berating others for their lack of sophistication. What Amelia found most disturbing, however, was how Isabelle actively undermined Sophie's efforts to support struggling students. Sophie had established a mentorship group where students who lacked formal training or financial resources could receive additional guidance and encouragement. Isabelle, however, regarded the group as a waste of time. "Sophie, you coddled them," she scoffed one afternoon when Amelia passed by her office. "They either have talent or they don't. Nurturing mediocrity only lowers our standards." Sophie's response had been quiet but firm. "Encouragement isn't mediocrity, Isabelle, it's growth." Isabelle's derisive laughter had echoed down the hall, followed by a warning about Sophie's soft-heartedness, leading her to failure. The corruption extended beyond Isabelle's cruelty. As Amelia continued to observe, she uncovered the unsettling truth about Victor Moreau, the dean of admissions. His office reeked of privilege and bribery, where well-connected parents flaunted their wealth to secure spots for their children. On more than one occasion, Amelia overheard Victor making subtle suggestions that a generous donation would help expedite the admissions process. When it came to talent versus wealth, Victor's loyalty was clear. Money always triumphed. Those who couldn't afford to pay their way in were rejected, regardless of their creative potential. Amelia's suspicions were further confirmed when she witnessed Victor reprimanding Sophie for advocating on behalf of a student whose work had been unfairly dismissed. "This institute has standards, Sophie," Victor had said, his voice dripping with condescension. "We cannot waste time on those who lack the means to appreciate our prestige." Sophie's shoulders had sagged under his scrutiny, but her defiant gaze remained steady. Amelia admired her courage, even as she recognized how isolated Sophie was within this corrupt system. Every day spent undercover revealed more of the elitist culture Isabelle and Victor had cultivated. The students who thrived were not necessarily the most talented but the most privileged. Their wealth acted as a golden ticket, granting them opportunities others could only dream of. As Amelia continued her investigation, her frustration hardened into a clear resolve. The corruption at the Parisian atelier was not just about poor management, it was exploitation, pure and simple. Isabelle and Victor were poisoning the very institution she had built with passion and integrity, and Amelia intended to end it. Amelia's patience had run its course. With every passing day, her resolve grew stronger, fortified by the unjust scenes she had witnessed and the tearful confessions of students too afraid to voice their concerns openly. The final straw came when she observed Isabel humiliating Lucille, the talented but shy student she remembered from the complaint letters. Lucille had poured her soul into creating a collection inspired by urban landscapes, bold colors, unconventional cuts, and daring textures. But Isabel had dismissed it all with a scoff. "This isn't art, it's chaos," Isabel snapped, her gaze cold and unyielding. "You'll never make it if you keep peddling these childish fantasies." Lucille had fled the room, her sketchbook clutched to her chest like a lifeline. Amelia's fury burned hotter than ever. Isabel was not cultivating talent, she was crushing it. Amelia waited until the end of the week, her observations meticulously noted and her anger tightly coiled within her. That Friday afternoon she walked into Isabel's office without knocking. Isabel looked up, irritation flaring in her eyes at the interruption. "What is it, Marie?" "I don't recall scheduling a meeting with you," Isabel said, her tone dripping with disdain. Amelia's calm smile did not falter. "I think it's time we had a conversation, Isabel. And I won't be needing an appointment." Before Isabel could respond, Amelia pulled off her glasses and let her carefully styled hair fall free from its restraint. The transformation was subtle but unmistakable. Isabel's eyes widened, her face paling as recognition dawned. "Amelia Clark," she breathed, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yes, Amelia Clark," she replied coolly, "the owner of this institute. And I've spent the past 2 weeks observing exactly how you run this program. Or rather, how you ruin it." Isabel stammered, her arrogant composure shattered. I don't understand. Why would you—" "Go undercover?" Amelia finished, her gaze unwavering. "Because your arrogance has blinded you. Students are being mistreated, their creativity stifled, their potential dismissed simply because they don't conform to your narrow standards of what's acceptable." Isabel's mouth opened and closed, her mind grasping for a defense. "I'm maintaining the Institute's standards of excellence. We can't cater to every whim of—" "No," Amelia cut her off sharply. "You're catering only to those who can afford to impress you. You've turned this institute into a sanctuary for elitism and corruption, and it ends now." Amelia's words were cold and precise, slicing through Isabel's defenses like a blade. Before Isabel could formulate a response, Victor Moreau entered the office, his usual smugness replaced by confusion at the sight of Amelia. "What's going on here?" Victor asked, his brow furrowed. "I was just informed you were holding some sort of impromptu review?" Amelia turned her glare on Victor, her expression unrelenting. "Yes, Victor, I've reviewed enough. Your bribery schemes and preferential treatment are over. Your role here ends today." Victor's face blanched, his attempt to stammer an excuse failing miserably. Bribery? I don't know what you're—" "Save it," Amelia snapped. "I've heard enough from your victims and seen enough with my own eyes. You and Isabel have tarnished this institute's reputation long enough." Her voice rose with conviction. "You're both fired, effective immediately." Isabel's face crumpled in disbelief, while Victor looked as though the floor had been ripped from beneath him. Without waiting for protests, Amelia stepped aside. "Collect your things and leave. You have 15 minutes before security escorts you out." She left them both gaping, their downfall echoing through the pristine hallways. Amelia's wrath was not born of cruelty, but of righteousness. She would not allow the Parisian atelier to rot under the corruption of its own leaders. Isabel and Victor had abused their power, but their reign was over. The healing could finally begin. With Isabel and Victor gone, Amelia wasted no time in setting things right. She called an urgent meeting with the remaining staff, her presence no longer hidden behind the disguise of Marie Laurent, but fully realized as Amelia Clark, the founder and owner of the Parisian atelier. Her gaze swept over the small crowd gathered in the main studio, many of them exchanging nervous glances, unsure of what to expect. Amelia's voice was steady and clear. "Effective immediately, Isabelle Duval and Victor Moreau are no longer part of this institute. Their actions have not only undermined our values, but have actively harmed students and staff alike." The murmurs that rippled through the room confirmed what Amelia had suspected. relief, but also apprehension. It was not enough to simply remove the corrupt leadership. Rebuilding trust would be a far greater challenge. Amelia turned her attention to Sophie Bernard, the instructor who had shown true compassion and dedication to the students. "Sophie, I'd like you to step into the role of program director. Your commitment to nurturing creativity and fostering a supportive environment is exactly what this institute needs." Sophie's eyes widened, her hand fluttering to her chest, as if she couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Me? But I've never held such a high position before." Amelia's smile was gentle but firm. "You've already proven yourself by doing the real work of an educator, supporting and encouraging your students. This promotion isn't just about titles. It's about giving you the authority to make this institute a place of growth and creativity once more." The room was silent as Sophie nodded slowly, tears shimmering in her eyes. "Thank you, Amelia. I won't let you down." Amelia returned her nod with unwavering confidence. "I know you won't." Without hesitation, she laid out her plans for rebuilding the Parisian atelier. Changes would be implemented immediately: new mentorship programs for struggling students, a transparent admissions process free from bribery and favoritism, and regular evaluations to ensure inclusivity and fairness across all departments. Amelia finished her speech by inviting everyone to participate in the rebuilding process. "If you're here to support creativity, dedication, and fairness, then I welcome you to stay. But if you're here to uphold elitism and exclusion, you're free to leave." The room remained silent, but the resolve in Sophie's eyes told Amelia everything she needed to know. A new chapter had begun. With Sophie officially promoted to program director, Amelia wasted no time in addressing the wounds left by Isabel and Victor. Knowing that healing the institute required more than just administrative changes, Amelia and Sophie organized a series of open forums where students were encouraged to voice their experiences, concerns, and hopes for the future. Held in the Institute's airy exhibition hall, the sessions attracted dozens of students, some still hesitant but others eager to finally be heard. Sophie's presence at the front of the room, her voice steady and welcoming, reassured them that this was a safe space. Amelia watched with quiet pride as Sophie encouraged each student to speak freely, her compassionate demeanor inspiring even the most reluctant voices to emerge. One by one, students shared their frustrations. They spoke of Isabel's condescension, Victor's pay-to-play admission schemes, and the pervasive favoritism that had left many feeling invisible. Sophie took meticulous notes, her brow furrowed with empathy as she absorbed their stories. But what struck Amelia most was the resilience in their voices. Despite the mistreatment, these students remained passionate about their craft, determined to grow as designers, even under the stifling weight of elitism. Amelia realized that Isabel's cruelty hadn't crushed their creativity, it had only forced them to fight harder for recognition. And now, with the Institute's leadership finally aligned with its founding principles, they were ready to flourish. Amelia also took note of students like Lucille, who had nearly abandoned her dreams after being humiliated by Isabel. Sophie made a point of reaching out to Lucille personally, inviting her to join a mentorship program designed to nurture unconventional creativity. Lucille was hesitant at first, but Sophie's genuine interest in her work soon rekindled the confidence she had nearly lost. As weeks passed, Lucille's talent blossomed under Sophie's guidance, her designs becoming bolder and more refined. Amelia could see the transformation. No longer was Lucille the shy, discouraged girl she had first encountered. She was an artist reclaiming her voice. Determined to provide resources to all students, Amelia implemented scholarships and financial aid programs that prioritized passion and dedication over wealth and status. The Institute's doors were finally open to everyone with talent, not just those with privilege. Watching Sophie work tirelessly to uplift her students, Amelia knew she had made the right choice. The Parisian atelier was beginning to heal, and for the first time in years, Amelia felt hope for the future. Under Sophie's compassionate and determined leadership, the Parisian atelier underwent a transformation that extended beyond its walls. Sophie's mentorship programs flourished, offering workshops, peer critique sessions, and one-on-one guidance for all students, especially those previously dismissed by Isabel's narrow standards. With Amelia's unwavering support, Sophie implemented a transparent admissions process that prioritized creativity and dedication over wealth and status. No longer were the institute's doors guarded by bribes or elitist biases. Anyone with true passion for design could find a place within its halls. Sophie's dedication quickly garnered respect and loyalty from students and staff alike. The atmosphere shifted from one of cold competition to one of collaboration and mutual growth. Students who once hid their work out of fear of ridicule now displayed their designs with confidence, knowing their unique visions would be appreciated rather than condemned. Alumni who had previously felt alienated began reaching out, offering mentorship and opportunities to current students, inspired by the positive changes they saw unfolding. Amelia continued to monitor the Institute's progress, her presence felt not as an overseer but as a collaborator. She encouraged open dialogue, welcomed feedback from students and instructors, and remained accessible to those who needed guidance. It was clear to everyone that the Parisian Atelier was no longer a bastion of elitism, but a vibrant, inclusive community where creativity thrived. And while Amelia knew the journey was far from over, the changes she had set in motion were already proving their worth. The Institute was healing, stronger than ever, and Amelia was determined to ensure it continued to grow. Months after the purge of Isabelle Duval and Victor Moreau, the Parisian Atelier had blossomed into the inclusive and vibrant institution Amelia had always envisioned. Under Sophie's leadership, the atmosphere was transformed from one of exclusivity and fear to creativity and collaboration. Students who once cowered under Isabelle's harsh criticisms now flourished, their designs reflecting boldness and innovation. Sophie's mentorship programs had become a cornerstone of the Institute, ensuring that all students, regardless of their background or resources, had the opportunity to grow and succeed. Amelia's hands-on approach never faltered. She made regular visits to the Paris campus, interacting directly with students and staff, listening to their concerns and celebrating their successes. The positive changes ripple outward, attracting new talent from diverse backgrounds and restoring the Institute's tarnished reputation. Lucille, once on the verge of abandoning her dreams, thrived under Sophie's guidance, and even won an award at a prominent design competition. Her triumph became a testament to the power of inclusivity and genuine mentorship. Amelia stood in the main studio one afternoon, watching as Sophie instructed a group of students with patience and enthusiasm. The Institute was healing, but more importantly, it was evolving. Amelia knew her work wasn't done. There were other campuses to evaluate, other injustices to address, but for now, she felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The Parisian Atelier was once again a place where creativity could flourish, and where all students, regardless of their wealth or status, could find their voice. Amelia had reclaimed her vision, and she was determined to protect it. The story of Amelia Clark in the Parisian Atelier teaches a powerful lesson about leadership, integrity, and inclusivity. True success comes from nurturing creativity and embracing diverse perspectives, not from catering to wealth and status. By confronting elitism and empowering compassionate leaders like Sophie, Amelia transformed her institute into a place where talent could flourish regardless of background. The lesson is clear. Leadership is about creating opportunities for growth, valuing authenticity over privilege, and remaining committed to one's principles, even when it means challenging established norms. Inclusivity isn't just ethical, it's essential for creativity and genuine progress.